I want to ask you something and I want you to actually sit with it for a second. How many times today has your brain replayed a conversation that has already happened, planned for a situation that might never happen, talked you out of something before you even tried? If you lost count, this video is for you. For the longest time, I believed I was just wired this way, that I was, by nature, an overthinker. Maybe you've told yourself the same thing. It becomes a part of your identity. I am just someone who overthinks. But what if that's not true? What if overthinking was never your personality, but a pattern your mind learned very cleverly to keep you safe? That shift in perspective changed everything for me. And by the end of this video, I think it might change something for you too. We live in a world that has completely normalized overthinking. There are memes about it, merchandise about it, people bond over it like it's a personality type. And I get it, because when something is so constant, so familiar, it starts to feel like just who you are. But here's the perspective shift I want to offer you today. Overthinking is not a trait you were born with. It's a coping response, one your nervous system developed probably a long time ago, in response to an environment where things felt unpredictable or unsafe or where you had to be on guard. Let that sink in. Think about it this way. Overthinking at its core is your brain trying to solve for every possible outcome before it actually happens. It's running simulations, checking for threats, preparing for the worst so you're never caught off guard. That's not a flaw. That's an incredibly sophisticated protection mechanism. The problem isn't that your brain does this. The problem is that it never got the memo that you are safe now, that the threat has passed, that you don't need to keep scanning. Your brain is still working the night shift for a danger that no longer exists. And when you understand that, something softens, doesn't it? Because now, instead of fighting yourself, you can start to work with yourself. Ancient Stoics had a practice that I find endlessly fascinating. They called it amor fati, love or faith, the idea of fully accepting what is rather than mentally wrestling with what could be or what should have been. Marcus Aurelius wrote, and I'm paraphrasing here, that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And he wrote this as an emperor, someone with actual empires to worry about. He understood something that modern neuroscience would later confirm. The mind, left without direction, defaults to worst case scenarios, not because life is terrible, but because a brain that anticipated danger survived longer than one which didn't. This is called the negativity bias. Our minds are literally wired to weight threats more heavily than safety. It kept our ancestors alive. But for you, sitting in your room at 11 p.m., replaying a text message you sent 3 days ago, it's not serving you anymore. There's also a beautiful concept in Buddhism called papancha, mental proliferation. The idea that the mind takes one small thought and spins an entire world out of it. One worry becomes a story, that story becomes a belief, that belief shapes how you move through the whole day. You didn't choose this, but you can choose gently and gradually to step out of it. Here's where I want to bring in something from hypnotherapy, because this is what truly made overthinking click for me on a deeper level. In hypnotherapy, we understand that subconscious mind operates on patterns and programs, not logic. Your conscious mind might know that you are safe. It might know that the email you sent was just fine, that your friend isn't mad at you, that your future is uncertain but probably okay. But the subconscious doesn't work in logic. It works in feeling and repetition. For years, maybe since childhood, your nervous system learned that the world is unpredictable, that you need to be prepared, that love or safety could be taken away without warning. It wrote as a program, and that program runs in the background every single day, producing thoughts that feel urgent and real even when they are not. This is why you can't just think your way out of overthinking. You probably already tried that, telling yourself to stop, to calm down, to be rational. And it works maybe for 2 minutes or 5 minutes because you're trying to use the conscious mind to override the subconscious pattern. That's like trying to dim the lights by talking to the bulb. What actually creates change is going underneath the pattern, giving the nervous system new experience of safety, new evidence that it can let go. And that begins, and this is the part I really want you to heal, not with doing more, but pausing differently. So here's the perspective I want to leave with you, the actual shift. You're not an overthinker. You're someone who learned to think ahead because at some point, thinking ahead protected you. You're not anxious because you're weak. You're responding to patterns your mind and body memorized. And those patterns made sense once, even if they don't anymore. And here is what I find so quietly revolutionary about this reframe. When you stop seeing overthinking as a character flaw and start seeing it as a protective response that simply overstayed its welcome, you stop being at war with yourself. You can say to your mind with genuine kindness, I see what you are doing. You're trying to keep me safe. Thank you, but I don't need this right now. That is not toxic positivity. That is not bypassing your feelings. That is beginning of real, deep self-trust. Because self-trust is ultimately what overthinking is the absence of. When we trust ourselves, trust that we can handle whatever comes. There is no need to rehearse every possible disaster. There is no need to control the uncontrollable. You are more resilient than your anxious mind believes you are. You have survived every hard thing that has come before this moment, every single one, and that is worth remembering. Now, I don't want to leave you with just a beautiful idea and no bridge to cross. So here are 3 small, genuinely doable things you can try, not to fix yourself, but to begin building a new relationship with your mind. Number 1, name the pattern, not yourself. When you catch yourself spiraling, instead of saying, I'm overthinking again, try, my mind is in protection mode right now. It's a tiny language shift, but it creates distance between you and the thought. You are not the thought, you are the one noticing it. 2, give your nervous system proof of safety. This sounds abstract, but it's actually physical. Take 3 slow, deliberate exhales, longer out than in. Place your hand on your chest, look slowly around the room and name 5 things you can see. This isn't just a breathing exercise. It is literally sending a signal to your amygdala, the brain's alarm center, that you are not in danger. You are safe. Right now, in this moment, you are safe. Number 3, ask one grounding question when a thought spiral starts. Is this real right now, or is this a story my mind is telling me about the future? Most overthinking lives in a future that hasn't happened. That questions bring you back to now, which is almost always okay. These are not cures, these are conversations you start having with yourself, and over time, those conversations rebuild trust. If this video resonated with you, if something in here made you feel a little less broken and a little more understood, please save it. Come back to it on a hard day. Share it with someone you love who needs to hear this. And if you're new here, hello, I'm so glad you found this channel. This is a space for women who are done running on empty and ready to come home to themselves gently. Subscribe if that's something you want more of, and I'll see you in the next one. You're doing better than you think. I really mean that. Bye.